Hi, this is Chris Whitcoe. We're here with New Leaf News, and I'd like to welcome Carolyn. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
So, what's going on in the world today? The world is going crazy. Have you heard about the almond board and what they've done, the decision that they've made?
No, I didn't hear they made a decision.
Well, they made the decision last year in 2006, and it's kind of been what I like to consider like a secret kind of covert operation. And I've been trying to figure out why, but here's basically what they're doing. Is they've decided that all almonds need to be pasteurized. Now, people like us, we like our almonds raw, right? Do you have almond milk?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's good stuff.
It's really good.
And we like it raw for various reasons.
Well, for all the enzymes, yeah. Well, also you want to soak them.
Want to soak them?
Yeah. So
and if you soak dead almonds,
well, you're just going to have dead milk.
The Almond Board of California, ABC, has ran their tests, and they say there's no difference between their pasteurized almonds and their raw almonds. And they did all this, I would say, in secrecy, only because the deadline for response was January 30th, and no one in the wellness, awareness, consciousness community seemed to have any idea this was even going on.
Well, I found out about it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So there's been like a little mini uproar, you know, in the grassroots kind of arena.
Right.
And you know, people are upset because they're trying to say that we can label. Now, this is really where it gets kind of suspicious. Is they've decided that it's legally okay to not have to say that it's pasteurized, and to legally call it raw.
They can't do that.
They're doing it. There's going to be some people that kind of know, but most people are going to have no idea. You're just not going to be able to get raw almonds anymore.
But it could say raw.
It's going to say raw.
Right. So yeah.
Yeah.
No.
No.
How sad.
No one will be wiser. So they almost got away with it.
And then what happened?
I don't really know what happened, but I guess enough people found out and said, wait a minute, how can you call something raw if you're going to pasteurize it? How can you do that? And they claim there's no difference. But they're not into maybe the spirit of the live food. They're just into
They just don't
testing.
understand.
Perhaps. But I think there's something more to it. And this is something I haven't read.
Conspiracy.
It's kind of something I read in between the lines.
Oh. Intuitive.
So here is what I think is going on. I found out that, you know how they're going to pasteurize these almonds?
No.
They're going to run it through some big old machine.
Well, that's what they do.
That's right.
Well, other than that, no, I thought maybe a specific.
Oh, no. It's just a big old machine. They got names, but who cares? The point is, though, these big old machines cost like $1.25 million. Now, a small almond producer.
So now, why did they decide to do this in the first place?
Oh, because there have been in the history of almonds 2 salmonella outbreaks. Two. And I found out that there are, what is it? I wrote it down. 40,000 cases last year of salmonella poison. We also know that if you soak almonds in hydrogen peroxide, you're good to go. Now, how expensive can that be? Hydrogen peroxide is not the most expensive chemical going on. You just soak them and it just kind of...
But you could also just put a little of that in the water.
Exactly. But you could do that even before you ship them. I mean, I can't imagine that process being very expensive. But how much money can one make? So here's what I think. I think someone said, how much money can we make if, obviously, $1.2 million is a lot of money. Our little mom-and-pop almond grower is not going to have their own pasteurization. So all the almonds in the entire country are going to have to go through, right now there's only 10 listed places in the United States. Companies that can actually pasteurize your almonds.
And do you know who they are?
Well, they're listed on the Almond Board website. I looked it up. I counted them. There was 10 as of April... What is today? April 19th.
Yeah.
There may be more by the time you view this. But that just tells me $1.2 million for an operation set up. How much money is there to gain? There's probably a lot of money in this decision.
Well, I wonder who owns those companies, because maybe there's a little connection going on.
And what's the FDA and the USDA? They're getting involved, making it mandatory. This voluntary rule is now mandatory across the board. I think the whole thing's kind of fishy. It kind of smells. It smells like rotten almonds to me.
It smells something worse than that.
So, I don't know what's going to happen, but right now...
So you guys need to know about this.
Yeah, I think we need to know. I think we need to be aware that this is one small step perhaps, but I think it's an overwide trend of taking away good food from our consumption opportunity. Taking away our options.
So, and then they can educate those people on, what we knew as the pyramid.
Right?
Right?
Yeah, the pyramid.
The old
Which
pyramid.
is now the multi-rainbow pyramid.
Well, yeah, they're still instilling the old
okay.
food pyramid. That's my point.
Oh, I see.
Instead of, the rainbow,
that's right.
the whole, see, they're trying to keep the rainbow. They don't want us to have the rainbow. They want the pot of gold to themselves and not
exactly
share
right.
the wealth of life and health.
Crazy.
There you go.
Maybe they're not necessarily in the best health themselves.
That's...
So how can you be conscious of being healthy when you yourself are
that's
not
key.
healthy?
That's key. You're right there. That's the key. Well,
hopefully,
yeah.
if we give them, maybe we just need a good colonic.
A good colonic. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Well, they pushed the deadline back from September 1st.
Okay.
It was August 1st. Now it's September 1st.
Okay.
So they're already pushing it back a month based on the outcry.
Okay.
So maybe they'll push it back indefinitely. But how can we care about the earth when we're putting our own bodies in jeopardy? We're putting sludge into our bodies, and we're not really treating our bodies with the kind of love and attention that we need to do as well as the earth. Speaking of which, Earth Day was founded in 1970.
Really?
Yeah, back in the hippie days. Those awesome hippies, man. They said, hey, we got to do something.
The main thing you were saying, though, is people are caring about their cars and about their pets and about the earth, but not so much about themselves.
Right.
But the thing they haven't really... The thing is that it's just all a reflection, really, what's going on in here.
That's
anyway,
right.
So you got to love yourself.
Right.
I mean, and not in that ego,
Right.
selfish, but just really
Absolutely.
open your heart up to yourself and feed your body. You call it all your temple, your this, whatever you want to say. But because if you're healthy, then it's going to be emanating out through your glow, through your smile, your eyes.
Thank you.
And then it's just going to start feeding onto that next person. It's going to feel it.
Right on. And once we start doing that, we start looking at the food we eat.
Exactly.
And saying, where does this food come from?
Exactly.
And then we can say, well, maybe the earth is important because
The soil.
that's where food comes from.
And the water.
And the water.
And where is the water coming from in all the watersheds?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But guess what? Right now, 2/3 of the Americans surveyed don't care. They're just not, maybe they care, but from the surveys, they're just not really willing to do anything.
Yeah.
So that's where we are right now. We have to honor that. We have to say 2/3 of the people do not care about the earth in the way that they're actually willing to do something different in their lives.
So we're doing this because this will have the ripple effect.
That's the idea, is that I think the younger generations are looking around at kind of what the older generations have done and saying, you guys have taken what's left. For us, we're like looking around and saying, wait a minute, we've destroyed our soil, we're destroying our health in this country. Just go to the mall and you can see the state of health in this country. But there are a few things we can do, and they're simple.
Go.
We can drink out of a water bottle. We can carry a water bottle with us.
Yeah.
Because we drink water all day, presumably.
Fill it up.
And if we're drinking out of our own water bottle, we're not using up throwaway, styrofoam cups and paper cups.
Yeah. And of course, glass. You can drink.
I love
glass
because glass is, very natural.
It's great. Glass.
So, yeah, of course we...
But if you can't do glass, get the right kind of reusable plastic that won't leach.
That's exactly right. Of course, I spoke in a previous episode about efficient light bulbs. We can become, 1/5 of the power, 1/4 of the power with the same amount of light.
Got the power.
Yeah, and we don't have to consume as much energy for light.
I gotta tell you, there's one thing about those light bulbs, though.
What's that?
And have you ever tried this? There's a lot of them are this spiral, the curly, right? So if you have
you don't like the curly bulbs?
No, I love the curly bulbs actually.
They're so cute. They don't always fit in your light lamp thing.
There you go. They kind of go up a little above it. It's the only thing, but it's totally worth it.
We may have lampshade issues, is what you're saying.
Yes, it's really not the light bulb. Thank you for clarifying.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
You know what else we can do?
Tell me.
We can pay our bills online. We can use the internet.
I agree.
I don't know how many thousands of bills get paid through the mail, but
yeah, still people do it.
Of course, but if
And
everybody did it online,
you're spending more money because you have to pay for the stamp.
internet stamps are free. As far as I can tell, right?
Yeah,
right now. They haven't figured out a way to tax that one.
Yeah, well, don't let any.
All right,
Go.
we'll keep that a secret. And of course, the best thing you can do on Earth Day is kind of like the symbolic gesture.
We're back to Earth Day.
Is what?
We're back to Earth Day.
We've been on Earth Day the whole time.
Because every day is Earth Day.
You know, that's a great concept. Every day is Earth Day.
It is.
Just like saying, take care of yourself day. It should be every day, right? It shouldn't be once a year.
Exactly.
But the best thing, kind of like the Earth Day thing to do, if you want to be like, I've done the coolest thing I can do on Earth Day, it's plant a tree. Right? Dig a hole, plant a tree,
yep.
Because all this carbon emissions into the air, the trees suck it up. They love it. Plant a tree.
And it makes you feel so good.
And, you've done your part, not just for today, but for generations to come. How beautiful is that?
Yes. Grand and beautiful and spectacular and trees.
Especially a fruit tree. Because then you have the tree.
And food.
And you have food.
And you have this nice reciprocal thing going on with breathing and...
And the trees love to give their fruit.
Yeah, don't they?
Except durians.
Is that a tree?
I don't know what it comes from, but that's, as I've said before, clearly a fruit that does not want to be eaten. We just got back from the Raw Film Festival. We had a lot of fun, met some really interesting people, and got some great interviews for our Freak of the Week. And in fact, we have a celebrity Freak of the Week, none other than Sergei Boutenko, whose DVD, which was just released, which we watched at the film festival, won an award. I think it was Funniest Award, and it was a really good movie. Here's the DVD. You can get it at rawfamily.com. Curdy.
What?
Did you watch Sergei's movie? What was your favorite part?
Him eating Coca-Cola and a banana, then him eating that was fun. That was funny.
It's called a freak. They're doing it that day. Allow us. We'll show you the way. Oh, freak out. Freak. Says she. Freak out.
Here at the Raw Film Festival with Sergei Boutenko. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for being the Freak of the Week.
My pleasure.
Let me ask you something. When did you realize you were a freak? When was the first moment that you said, man, maybe I'm different here?
Probably around when I was 9 years old.
9 years old?
Yeah, because, and how I realized that was some kids at school said, Sergei, you're a freak. So that was my realization.
And you say, wow. So how did that change you? Did you feel like you had to get out of that mode somehow? Did you feel like panic?
Yeah, I definitely felt like I needed to get out of that mold of being a freak, and spent the better part of the next, I don't know how many years trying to get through it. And then slowly though, when I was trying to get away from the title of raw foodist or freak or whatever, I realized that I just had to embrace it. And now, being 22, being older, people embrace differences, and it's great. So I'm really happy that.
And now you're part of a movement that a lot of people are older and, what you would consider, or we would consider, respected people coming, you asking for advice.
Yeah.
And now you're not the freak, but almost the guru in a lot of ways for a lot of people.
Yeah.
What can you tell, the younger people who are starting to feel that kind of, they want to be different, and maybe, so you have the benefit of your parents. What if they don't have that? What can you say to them?
I would say that it's very difficult in the beginning, and there's just no way around that. But you know what? Life is difficult, and if you can get through it, I promise you that one day it'll shift, and then people will just start embracing you. Because ultimately, I think up until college age, we all try and be the same, and then once you get to college, that doesn't work anymore. People grow up, they realize, hey, I like the differences, and it gets a whole lot easier.
That's awesome. So, what kind of did you have some transition problems? Did you have any issues? I mean, you started really early.
Yeah.
How do you help? What do you say to people who are having like difficulties transitioning?
I think that if you're having difficulties transitioning, the best thing that you can do for yourself is not feel any guilt. If you're trying to stay 100% raw food and you slip up, if you feel guilty, that's a completely useless feeling. There's nothing good that comes from guilt. You just feel bad, and it makes you actually want to eat more cooked food. So what I would recommend is that if you ever slip up, pat yourself on the back, say you're doing great, it's okay, and then use that and say, hey, how can I learn from this? And then make it into a good thing instead of a bad thing.
That's awesome. Now, I seen your book. We've looked at it. What was that like writing the book?
Writing the book was a challenge. I didn't know how much effort went into writing the book. I think I had to read it about 20 times in the editing processes. That's not even including the reading while I was writing. And we're actually in the process of writing another book right now, my sister and I.
Oh, really?
And yeah, seeing how much work it is again.
Right.
But it's a good experience ultimately because my one mouth, or my sister and my presence together can't affect as many people as we want to affect. And so writing a book or making a movie is a means of reaching more people.
Cool. Now tell us about the movie.
The movie is called Interview with Sergei Boutenko. At first glance, it's like, well, it's Sergei who made the movie, and it's about Sergei. That's kind of like tooting his own horn a little bit, isn't it? It's not at all. It's, while I'm in the movie, I'm just kind of playing myself. It's not really about me. It's about how I started eating raw food, and it really helped me to get past the issues that I was battling with. And as Dr. Ann Wigmore says, health and being healthy is our birthright, and I think that it should be free. Everybody deserves to be healthy, and everybody deserves to know that you don't have to pay. So it's kind of what the movie is about. Oh, and also not being too serious, because that's also important.
That's awesome. So how do you feel like your role in the universe is turning into? You've got some books, you've got movies. Where do you see yourself going?
Wow. I think that the type of person that I am, I don't tend to look too far into the future because I'm pretty spontaneous and don't really know what's going to happen tomorrow, let alone in a year.
That's awesome.
However, I know that raw food will always be part of my life, whether I choose to pursue the teaching aspect of it or not. Lately, I've been interested in communication and just kind of what works and what doesn't, because while only a select few of us are eating raw food, every single person on this globe communicates, and some people do it better than others, and I think that that's also a key element in having a happy life.
Why do you think so many people are not doing what is so obviously the healthiest way to live? What do you think is where do you think the blocks are coming from?
Well, I think a lot of people just aren't curious to learn more, and I also think that the definition of what is right is very vague, because a lot of people, I mean, it's really hard to live life thinking that you're not doing right? So something as simple as going to war, you could never go to war if you thought that you were doing something wrong. That's why they think that they're doing right, and it's easy. So I think just the term what is doing right is different from person to person. I just know that for me, raw food works because I'm not contributing to the cruelty of animals. I'm, in a sense, recycling when I don't buy food that's in packages, and then every waste product goes directly back into the ground. For me, that feels right, and I'm not interested at all to tell people you have to do this or everybody should do what I do. I think that I'm doing what I feel works for me, and if you like it, if you get inspired by what I do, I fully encourage you to try it.
Well, I can honestly say I was inspired. Your mom's book was the first raw book I've ever read. I read it cover to cover. So you're definitely an inspiration. Your whole family, and I thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much as well.
Good luck in whatever you're trying to do and in getting that communication voice out there, because the more people doing that, in their own special way, the more people that are going to get hit the way they need to be hit. So, fantastic, man. Best of luck with the
Excellent,
film.
thank you.
Awesome. That was great. Hello and welcome to New Leaf News, and welcome Heather. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
So how would you define your attitude towards life?
Towards life?
Yeah.
I love life. Life is great.
Awesome.
Mhm.
And what feeds that desire? What keeps you motivated?
Just experiences.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like there's so many, the wealth of experiences that are available to us as human beings on the face of this earth is just endless, and
Right.
there's no need to ever be bored or unsatisfied with what's here for us. And it doesn't mean, I mean, I'm talking about what's available as far as like just what the natural world
Mm-hmm.
has to provide. Like,
Sure, sure.
I'm not talking about what you can buy at the mall. I'm talking about, you know, just, I mean, here I am in the desert of all places, being a surfer from the ocean. I love it here, you know. The stars at night are so beautiful. And
So you're just willing to accept and experience everything in the moment and live your life to its fullest.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think you're not like everybody else? What makes you kind of a freak of society and joining into this?
well,
thing?
let me see. I think that once you just get an initial inspiration, you know, like you see, I don't know, you interact with the world and nature in a certain way that feeds you in a certain way, and once you feel that, you just want more, you know, like then there's no turning back. It's been hard at times, for sure, especially like when I was a teenager and peer pressure is a real thing, you know, but it didn't take long for me to realize that I'm happy to be the way I am, to be living the way I am, and that it doesn't really matter to me what other people think about it.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Because you connect with people that have the same values as
Right,
you,
right.
and they're out there. There's lots of them. We follow certain pathways, you know. And when you live in a van and you're traveling around with a surfboard and a banjo, then you naturally attract other freakish people. I guess.
Right on, sure.
I'm really actually excited about eating wild edibles.
Right.
Because
right.
there's a lot of wild edibles in the mountains
Sure.
where I work, all around me, like where I park, and there's, you know, dandelion greens and all kinds of wild lettuces and mustards and everything, and berries.
And once you learn all this stuff, there's never any fear of where you're going to get your next meal.
No.
Just go out into the...
And it's the most nutritious food available to us.
Why do you think
They've
so?
adapted to live in the wild, in the
Right.
environment. They're hardy, you know, like they have
absolutely.
all that vital life energy because they put up with the cold nights. They haven't been hybridized to be pampered, you know, and put in little greenhouses, and they're tough. And so because of that, they have a lot more vital life energy than other plants that we eat.
You play banjo, you play music, you did our theme song, Plan of the Week, which was exceeding expectations on all fronts. What other things do you like to do? You surf?
Yeah, I play the fiddle too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing that for a while. I love doing yoga.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I do yoga a lot. It's one of my favorite things to do. I love dancing.
Mm-hmm.
I love eating good food, hanging out with great people.
So what do you think your mission is? What's your mission in life? Why are you here?
Why am I here? I've only recently started to ask myself this question.
Okay.
And what I think right now is that I'm here to, how do I put this into words? To be a vessel of joy walking the face of the earth in order to feed back that energy that I'm getting from this planet you know? Somebody has to tell her they love her.
Right.
I love you, Mother Earth, you know? And to inspire other people to feel that way also.
Well, that's awesome. I know you definitely inspired me. I'm looking forward to getting into wild edibles myself.
Good.
And I really enjoyed your playing and just our conversations being around you. So I wish you the best and look forward to talking with you again sometime.
Thank you.
So part of what's very important about just life in general is about being flexible and able to go with the flow.
Right.
So with that in mind, it's my pleasure to introduce Tim. Welcome to the show, and you're going to show us how to stay flexible, stay in the flow with Sun Salutation.
That's right. Shoulders are relaxed, face is relaxed. Inhale and exhale, prayer position. Inhaling, arms up, slightly arching back. And exhale, forward bend. Inhale, stepping back with the right foot. Retaining the breath, push-up position. We'll drop our knees, chest, and forehead. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, V. Inhale, right foot forward. And exhale, left. Inhale, up. And exhale, prayer. Relax.
You okay?
Feeling great?
Hi, I'm David Rain at the Tree of Life Rejuvenation Center, and this is your thought for the week. One thing I wanted to talk about is, there's a lot of activism out there, and we do a lot of peace marches, or we do anti-war rallies. We do work for the environment, and we do work for healing poverty, or maybe we work on the war on cancer, or the war on AIDS, and there's a lot of things like that that are out there. And so there's a lot of different kinds of activism that we can get involved in. And I've been looking at this for many years because I've been a nonviolent activist for a long time, and I've studied a lot of nonviolent action from Gandhi onwards through the present day. And it occurs to me, having looked at just the impact of diet on human health, and how human health impacts our behavior, and how behavior impacts the way society is, that if we look at what's the most impactful thing that we could possibly do to help turn society around, to turn the tide, because we have a lot of violence, we have a lot of pollution, we have a lot of sickness. The government is now less of a democracy and more of a plutocracy, which means that the government is basically ruled by money. So in an age when the government is controlled by money, how do we change things? What's our best activism that we can do? Well, consider this. We spend $2.2 trillion every year on medical expenses, most of which are unnecessary, at least according to the health paradigm that I'm in. And we spend about $1.3 trillion every year on food. And a lot of that food is wheat and meat and dairy. Okay? And these foods are actually not necessary foods for us if we move to a plant-based diet. Okay? And if you look at all the raw foodies that are out there, people are living quite well without these foods and are living very long-lived. Okay? Dr. Cousins is a good example of that. It's a picture of health. So is David Wolfe. You see a lot of raw foodies out there. Mike Adams is another great example. Okay? So if we're spending $1.3 trillion every year on food, most of which we shouldn't be buying, we should be buying different kind of food, and we're spending $2.2 trillion is what we'll spend in 2007 this year on medical expenses, most of which are unnecessary, we're looking at conservatively, just with those two things, about $3.5 trillion of the U.S. economy. I don't know any activist out there that's advocating something that can affect that kind of change in the U.S. economy. That's significantly impactful. So I'd encourage you this week to look into what is the impact of actually switching your diet so that you're not sick. and you don't exhibit behaviors which are creating a lot of problems for society. Just take a look at it. We're talking about $3.5 trillion of the U.S. economy that could be shifted if everybody moves to a plant-based diet. Think about it.
Turning over a new leaf, gonna turn it on. Turning over a new leaf, come on, come on, come on. Turning over a new leaf, gonna turn it on. Turning over a new leaf, come on, come on, come on.
That was great. That was good. That was good.
So you're gonna just do 15-minute interviews?
I'm
on
trying to
YouTube?
keep them under 15. I'm trying to keep, it's YouTube, man.
Yeah,
People don't
it's
want
YouTube.
to watch for,